takes an integrated approach before, during, and after traveling. And when going green for a particular event, it's important to take that integrated approach as well before, during, and after the event. So before the event, when you send out invitations, avoid sending regular mail. Choose to go the way of e-files instead. Adrian. So you can go the way of e-bikes. The next thing is in choosing the accommodation for your guests at the event, you want to choose hotels that are in walking distance to conserve on the amount of automobile transport that they'll be using. You'd also want to choose hotels that have demonstrated eco-friendly policies as well. Sorry, be it extravagant stuff such as solar energy or simple stuff such as linen reuse programs. If you can't get hotels that are nearby to your meeting destination, then it's important that you should try to get a shuttle as well. So it acts as carpooling then, and even in choosing the actual country to host the meeting, you want to choose a destination that has direct access to for all the attendees, so to avoid planes stopping in one place going on to the next destination. It's more carbon being used there. In decorating an event, you want to try to use as much natural decor as possible. In this example, they use plants to decorate the halls, and these plants can be given to your guests at the end of the conference so that they don't go to waste. When purchasing for the event, you want to try to purchase as much as possible in bulk. That way you avoid the extra environmental cost to shipping more than once. You also want to avoid items that are not heavy on the packaging. In choosing the cuisine for your event, you want to try to go local. Again, you're saving the environmental cost and your import bill in importing these products. It's also less preservatives, therefore more organic, and of course you'd be helping sustain the local community. In terms of your plates, you want to move away from the plastic plates and the paper plates and instead use ceramic plates that can be reused. Similarly, with the cutlery, you want to use regular cutlery so you won't have to dispose of plastic, as well as the cloth napkins that can be simply washed and reused as well. In saving on plastic, you want to, if you have to use condiments, you want to use a disposable condiment machine, so you don't want to be bringing packets because that's more plastic to throw away. Also, when you're providing your attendees with water, avoid using plastic water bottles. Instead, use a glass pitcher, use an actual glass, so you'll avoid plastic in bottle again. And if possible, opt out of using straws because again, that's plastic. At the end of the event, you're likely to have some excess food, so don't simply throw it away, but if possible, source a local organization that will accept the food, maybe a shelter or charity, or even develop a compost system. In terms of recycling, you don't want to just assume that if you put methods in place that your guests will know that they're there. So at the beginning of the event and possibly during intervals, you want to announce to your guests that, hey, this is what we have in place, try to make use of it. Having said that, you also, when you implement your systems, you want to clearly label them so the attendees don't get confused. And at the end of the event, the plastic name badges, you can reuse those as well. And Gail was mentioning this before as well with the emailing of like handouts and such, that you don't want to be printing out a lot of people. If you have 60 or 100 people in the event and you have to print out pages for everybody, that's a lot of trees you're killing there. So you want to try to avoid that as well, and instead email your handouts and your presentations to to your attendees before or after the event. Also, if you're interested in giving guests promotional items, you want to try to use items made of sustainable material. For example, this flash drive here, which is flash drive we're using in this as well. And when you're cleaning, you want to make use of eco-friendly cleaning products. If you're doing the cleaning yourself, or if you have to hire somebody to do the cleaning, hire a group that uses eco-friendly products. And last point in grading events, it must be noted that the 19 points I went before, those are ways that you can help to reduce your carbon emission, your energy wastage, and so forth. But the reality is that no matter what you do, there'll always be some form of carbon emitter. So one way you can help offset this is to participate in a carbon neutral program, or carbon offset program, I should say. And as the event organizer, you should encourage your guests to participate in such programs. Okay. Now I'll move on to tips for grading the office. Some of these you'll be familiar with already. The computers, you should have them on in the energy saving mode. Computers come with that setting. Some computers have the Energy Star rating, and you can make use of those types of computers as well. The equipment, such as the computers and the printers, the thing is that even when you leave equipment plugged in and you turn it off, it still drains energy for a while after, once you leave it plugged in. So what you should do is unplug it at the end of the day, so it conserves in that energy as well. You could also make use of carpooling, as we saw in the video, reduce the amount of cars on the road, reduce the amount of exhaust. You can also make use of public transport, and you do like me and walk to work. Take a 20-minute walk.
20 minutes away.
Maybe if you want to carpool, you can drop me home if you want. There's a last point, sorry. You can consider condensing the working days. So instead of having a 5-day week, you can have with 8 hours a day, you can have 4 days a week with 10 hours a day. So on one day, there'll be less traffic on the road. And in conjunction with that, you can develop a to help implement that.
10 days for 10 days.
Okay, next point is that you can make use of telemeeting.
I don't mind doing that and get a day
Again,
off.
if you can do work from home, it's really efficient that way. You avoid having to use transport to come to work. So make use of the computer, teleconferencing, using your voice over IP applications such as Skype. Simple things such as using fluorescent light bulbs instead of incandescent, and making sure to turn off the lights when you leave the room. That picture you're seeing there, that's an occupancy sensor which was in the video with the hotel. The hotel used that with the eye thing. For us here, that could probably be most applicable, for instance, in the bathroom area, which is a high traffic area but not really often frequented. It's a kind of paradox there.
Okay.
I think it's
actually implemented in the
Yeah, I believe I've seen it as well.
Yeah.
So what happens is that when you open the door, the light comes on, and when you leave the room, the light comes off. Make use of all your communication methods. Online communication, use your emails, your social media, your mobile phone. Avoid having to use paper and numbers to make your communications. Avoid having to do your storage on CDs and on lots of paper. And we live in an era of cloud computing, so make use of those services. Store your information online on their servers. The good thing about that as well is that you can make multiple backup copies on different servers so it doesn't get lost. Next, I'm one of those persons who needs to print out something for a draft, make my little comments in it, and then go back and edit it on the computer. That's a habit I need to get out of because that's something we should avoid. What you want to do is do all your proofreading on the computer, don't print any drafts, and then when you're satisfied with the final document, then you print that. That way you can save on paper. When printing, I believe we do it here already, that you should try to print on both sides of the paper. For scrap paper that we can't avoid printing, but it's like one-sided print, we can always reuse that as notepads. This company actually took recycled paper and made an actual notebook out of it, which is a very cool idea, and I like the message. I used to be rubbish. So it's, a lot of it can come out of the waste we throw away. I know for some of us that schedules might be hectic and long working hours, getting up early to come to work. But as much as possible, try to bring your own lunch. And when you're doing so, and well, bring it in reasonable containers.
What's that?
Also, encourage the separation of garbage in the premises and make sure that these bins are clearly labeled. If you must print an email, don't click and print the whole page. Highlight the section that you want and print that. There's hard instances in my own household where you go to print an email and the entire page comes out, and there's a lot of color in that as well. So it's a lot of wastage when you do that. When purchasing paper for the office, try to purchase paper that has a high post-consumer content. That just simply means that post-consumer material is material that we would have used, that has served its purpose, and you would have otherwise thrown away. And pre-consumer waste is waste that's like any manufacturer's warehouse but never made it to the consumer. You know, little shavings and stuff like that from wood. So all that is pre-consumer waste. So while both of these types of consumer material are good in terms of recycling, making recycling products out of it, it is noted that the post-consumer material is the better one to look out for. So if you went to a store and saw 60% pre and one saying 60% post, you go for the 60% post. Again, similar to the grading events, you want to purchase in bulk to avoid shipping costs. Also, you want to use environmentally friendly cleaning products again. This